Elliot Mason always had his eyes on the stars. As a young astronomer, he had a passion for the night sky, mapping constellations and gazing through telescopes with boundless wonder. But one summer evening, during a lecture at the planetarium, something or someone diverted his focus from the stars to Earth. Her name was Lily Carter. She sat in the front row, her soft, ethereal features illuminated by the celestial projections. Her eyes sparkled like distant galaxies, and when she smiled, Elliot swore he saw entire constellations form. There was a radiant glow in her presence that pulled him in, as if she carried the universe within her gaze. After the lecture, Elliot approached her, heart racing, words clumsy. Lily's laughter was soft, almost musical, and from that moment, his world revolved not around the stars, but her. Months passed, and Elliot's admiration for Lily grew with every encounter. She had a natural curiosity about the stars, always asking questions, her excitement mirroring his own. They spent evenings at the observatory, Lily peering through the telescope while Elliot nervously tried to explain the mysteries of the cosmos. But it wasn't just her curiosity that captivated him. There was something about the way she looked at the stars, like they weren't distant objects, but something close, something familiar. He often caught himself staring at her, the way her eyes glistened with fascination, and he wondered if she realized that she was more beautiful to him than any star in the sky. It was on one of those nights that he quietly made a vow to himself. He would immortalize her beauty in the stars somehow, some way, hoping that someday she might see herself the way he saw her. Elliot spent years working late into the night, mapping the stars, studying their patterns. He became obsessed with creating something new, something that would capture Lily's essence. He pored over charts, tracked celestial movements, and drafted and redrafted new constellations in hopes of finding the perfect one that mirrored her. His colleagues noticed his change, his intensity, but they didn't understand. How could they? This wasn't just science to Elliot anymore. It was love. He longed to tell her how he felt, but feared that words would fall short of what he wanted to express. His love for her wasn't something he could easily speak about. It was vast, infinite, like the universe itself. One evening, as they sat side by side on a grassy hill overlooking the town, Elliot pointed up at the sky. He traced invisible lines between the stars, whispering to her about a constellation he was working on. It was still incomplete, but he named it Lilium after her, though he didn't dare tell her why. Lily smiled at him, unaware of the depth of his devotion, and as the cool night breeze ruffled her hair, Elliot knew he had to find a way to show her. Years went by, and Elliot's dedication never wavered. His feelings for Lily only deepened, though she seemed oblivious to the intensity of his quiet affection. They remained close friends, sharing countless nights under the stars. But Elliot never confessed his love. He was afraid of losing the connection they already had. One evening, as they watched a meteor shower together, Lily turned to him, her face bathed in moonlight. "Elliot," she began softly, "why do you love the stars so much?" He hesitated, his heart pounding. How could he explain that the stars had become a way for him to channel the feelings he couldn't bring himself to say aloud? "Because they remind me of you," he finally whispered, his voice barely audible over the soft rustle of the night. But Lily didn't hear him. She was too lost in the sight of the meteors streaking across the sky. It was the night of a rare celestial event, the alignment of planets, something that happened once in a lifetime. Elliot had spent years preparing for this night. His constellation was finally complete, and he had timed its unveiling with this cosmic event. He invited Lily to the observatory, just as he had many times before. But this night was different. His heart was heavy with anticipation, fear, and hope. He led her to the telescope and told her to look. As she gazed through the lens, he began to speak, his voice trembling. "Lily," he said, I've spent years trying to capture something I've never been able to put into words. But tonight I want you to see what I see every time I look at you." She looked up at him, confused, then back into the telescope. There, mapped out in the night sky, was the constellation Lilium, her name written in stars, the design carefully crafted to mirror the beauty in her eyes. Lily pulled away from the telescope, her eyes wide, tears welling. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air between them was thick with emotion, charged with the weight of unspoken words. "You named a constellation after me?" she whispered, her voice shaky with disbelief. Elliot nodded, his heart pounding. "I've loved you for years, Lily. I didn't know how to say it, so I tried to show you, with the stars." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she stepped toward him, her hand finding his. "All this time," she murmured, "I've been looking at the stars, not realizing you were always looking at me." Their eyes met, and in that moment the universe seemed to hold its breath. As the planets aligned above them, their hearts finally aligned below. The kiss they shared was tender, full of years of unspoken love, the night sky their only witness. From that night forward, Elliot and Lily's bond only deepened. They continued to spend their nights under the stars, but now every time they looked at the sky, they saw more than just distant lights. They saw their story, written in constellations, glowing in the darkness. Their love was no longer a silent devotion, it was loud, infinite and eternal, just like the stars. Lilium became their shared secret, a reminder of the night their lives changed forever. And as they grew old together, Elliot often looked up at his creation with a smile, knowing that their love would live on, shining brightly in the heavens long after they were gone.